The holographic projection flickered to life, showing a battlefield 3 centuries old, and Professor Zelthan began the day's lesson on the most brutal military commanders in galactic history. Kira Strand sat in the back row of the Xenohistory class, sketching in her notebook while 42 alien students leaned forward to witness humanity's darkest military moments. Today we examine the siege of Kronos 7, Zelthan announced, his tentacles gesturing toward the tactical display. A conflict that lasted 7 years and resulted in the complete collapse of the Drevian Empire. The architect of this devastation was a human commander whose strategic genius was matched only by his absolute ruthlessness. The hologram shifted to show a figure in combat armor standing atop a pile of rubble that had once been a planetary capital. Even through the distortion of ancient recording technology, the image radiated authority and lethal capability. This is Commander Haldrick Strand, Zelthan continued. Active during the Consolidation Wars 300 years ago. Responsible for 17 major planetary campaigns. Victor in every single engagement. His tactical innovations are still studied in military academies, though his methods were considered extreme even by human standards of the era. Kira's pencil stopped moving. She looked up at the hologram with sudden intense focus. The siege of Kronos 7 demonstrated Strand's signature approach, Zelthan said, pulling up battlefield schematics. He did not conquer through superior firepower. He conquered through perfect information warfare, psychological manipulation, and patience that bordered on inhuman. He could wait years for the optimal moment to strike. His enemies called him the Ghost General because he would vanish for months, then appear exactly where and when his presence would cause maximum devastation. A Vexillian student raised a crystalline appendage. Professor, if his methods were so effective, why did humanity classify him as a war criminal after the Consolidation Wars ended? Because effectiveness and morality are not the same thing, Zelthan replied. Strand won battles by making his enemies believe he was everywhere and nowhere. He fabricated intelligence. He turned enemy commanders against each other. He destroyed supply lines knowing it would cause civilian casualties. He operated without mercy or hesitation. When the wars ended and humanity sought peace with former enemies, Strand became an embarrassment, a reminder of what humans could become when they embraced total warfare. Kira raised her hand slowly. Professor, what happened to him after the wars? That is one of history's mysteries, Zelthan said, pleased by the engagement. Commander Strand disappeared following his indictment for war crimes. Some historians believe he died in hiding. Others think he was secretly executed by his own government to facilitate peace negotiations. His body was never found. His fate remains unknown. He became a ghost in death as he had been in war. That is a fascinating interpretation, Kira said quietly. But it is also completely wrong. The classroom went silent. Zelthan's tentacles stiffened. Excuse me. Kira stood up, walking toward the holographic display with a slight smile that did not quite reach her eyes. You are showing my grandfather, and he is very much alive. The reaction was instantaneous. Every student turned to stare. Zelthan's coloration shifted through colors that indicated shock and disbelief. That is impossible, he said. The timeline does not support human longevity of 3 centuries. Even with medical advancement, no human lives that long. Most humans do not, Kira agreed. But my grandfather was not most humans. He entered cryogenic suspension following the war crimes charges. The government made a deal with him. Suspend his life, wait for the political situation to calm, then potentially revive him for testimony. Except the situation never calmed. The charges were never dropped, and he remained frozen for 270 years. She gestured to the hologram of the armored figure. He was revived 28 years ago when the statute of limitations on war crimes finally expired. He has been living quietly on a colony world ever since. I was born 6 years after his revival. My father is his son from before the suspension. Zelthan's biology did not permit jaw-dropping, but his entire posture conveyed the same sentiment. You are claiming direct descendancy from one of history's most notorious war criminals. I am claiming family relationship with a man who did terrible things during a terrible war, Kira corrected. Yes. Can you prove this? Kira pulled out her personal datapad and transmitted files to the classroom display. Military records appeared. DNA verification. Birth certificates. A photograph of an elderly human man with scarred hands and tired eyes, standing beside a young girl who was unmistakably a younger Kira. That was taken 4 years ago, she said softly, at my grandmother's funeral. The woman he married after his revival. The only person who could look at what he had been and love what he became. The classroom remained frozen in stunned silence. Why did you wait until now to reveal this? Zelthan asked. Because I wanted to hear what history says about him, Kira replied. I wanted to hear the official narrative. The ghost general, the ruthless commander, the war criminal. And it is all true. He did those things. He carries that weight every single day. She touched the holographic image, her fingers passing through the projection of her grandfather's younger face. But history leaves out context. The consolidation wars were existential. Humanity was fighting 3 empires simultaneously, all of whom saw us as expansion targets. We were outnumbered 50-1. Conventional warfare would have resulted in human extinction. So my grandfather became what was necessary. He became the monster that saved his species. That does not justify his actions, a Threnal student said quietly. No, Kira agreed. It does not. He knows that. He lives with it. He told me once that he stopped counting the deaths he caused when the number became too large to comprehend. He said every night he dreams of the civilians who died because of his strategies. He said he would accept any punishment if it would bring them back. Then why did he not turn himself in when revived? Zelthan challenged. Because the same governments that wanted him executed also wanted his knowledge, Kira said. They wanted his tactical assessments, his strategic innovations, his understanding of asymmetric warfare. So they made another deal. His freedom in exchange for consultation. He teaches, quietly, anonymously. He trains the next generation of human military strategists, and he teaches them one lesson above all others. What lesson? Varela asked. That effectiveness without morality is just efficient evil, Kira said. That winning is not the same as being right. That the weapons we create to save us can destroy us from within. He teaches them what he was, so they can choose to be better. She turned to face Zelthan directly. You called him inhuman. You were right. What he did during the war was inhuman. But what makes him human is that he knows it. He lives with that knowledge. He tries to ensure no one else becomes what he was. That is his redemption. Not forgiveness. Not absolution. Just the work of trying to make the future better than the past. Zelthan was silent for a long moment. I owe you an apology, Cadet Strand. I presented history without considering that history has descendants who must carry its weight. No apology needed, Kira said. History should be taught as it happened. My grandfather agrees. He asked me to tell you something if this situation ever arose. What message? That he is available for interview if you wish, Kira said. He believes education requires primary sources. He will answer any questions about his campaigns, his decisions, his crimes. He will do so on record. Because hiding from history is just another form of cowardice, and whatever else he was never a coward. She returned to her seat. He also said to tell you that the siege of Chronos 7 was not his signature approach. It was his greatest regret. And if any military strategists are studying his methods, they should study his failures more than his successes. Because the battles he won destroyed pieces of his humanity that he will never recover. The class sat in profound silence. Finally, Zelthan spoke. I will take him up on that offer. And I will adjust this curriculum to include his perspective. History is incomplete without the voices of those who lived it. Thank you, Professor. That evening, Kira sent a message to her grandfather. They know now. His response came 3 hours later. Good. It was time. Tell them I will speak. All of it. Every truth. I owe the dead that much. She smiled through tears and wrote back. I know, Grandpa. That is why you are my hero. Not for what you did. For what you refused to hide from. History is written by the victors. But redemption is written by those who choose truth over comfort. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed, make sure to like and subscribe for more stories.